A saint is someone who loves the truth more than themselves. So how do we become that? We have to get rid of all of our attachments. All that stuff goes on in the world because we have attachments. If you're listening to this, like, you're compromised by something. Like, we're all compromised by things. Whether it's money, whether it's lust, whether it's fame, reputation, even family. Oh, you do this or that and your son's going to go to Harvard. Like, whatever it is, you're compromised by your attachments. So in order to actually become a saint and a sage, we need to let go of all those things. And that's how the world changes, if we actually do that work.
Hello and welcome to Cham Chats. Here we talk about self-discovery and finding true happiness within. I'm Leanne, and today Matthew and I sat down with Blake Guss, who is a helper at Teaneck Meditation. In this episode, Blake shares his story on why he started meditating, how he found joy in helping others, and shares tips on how you can develop yourself spiritually, physically, and mentally. Blake is an example of someone who is constantly working on himself so that he can show up and serve others in the best way possible. I hope his words inspire you, and I hope you enjoy this episode of Cham Chats. Hi, Blake.
Hey, Leanne. How you
Hi,
doing?
Matthew.
Hello.
We're all here today. How's everything? How was your trip? You just got back from the meditation retreat.
It was awesome. I feel refreshed. I feel very excited from being back. It's kind of, you're a little bit secluded, right, from the world in a way, right?
Yeah.
And you're just focused on being there on the retreat and farming and meditating there, and I was guiding some there and helping there too. But coming back, I feel really motivated, really excited. I feel so much more energy even. I'm taking a lot of black turmeric too, so that could be part of it, but I'm like shocked. Like literally in the morning I'm like wired, like so fired up. That's how I feel. At night I'm conked because I'm running all day, but yeah, I'm really, really thankful that I went there for like 5 months, so I'm thankful I could go there.
It was only 5 months?
Yeah, it felt like longer.
I really thought you were gone for like a year. It seemed like so long. So compared to before you left, you feel like way more energized and excited?
I do, actually. That's what's amazing. No matter how many times I go there or how many times I go to a retreat or have some secluded time to do inner work myself, and I was also helping there too, but still it's endless to grow. And I think that's, I always feel a huge difference whenever I do that. Yeah. We can always grow. Like we're chasing our highest self, right? So
Ooh, yeah, that's exciting to hear because I'm planning on going down for 3 months myself, and it's like I've been there for like maybe a week or two at a time, and it feels like so impactful, and I feel like I changed so much in such a short time. So like going for a 3-month period, I'm like really excited to see like how I change and what comes up, and just also like you mentioned, like coming back and feeling energized. Like I'm also looking forward to that too. Of like there's things I want to do, whether it's like changing careers or other projects and stuff. So like I'm just looking forward to having that like fresh mindset coming back to do that too.
I'm so excited for you, man.
And I'm totally not jealous at all. No, I'm going to go I probably can only go like 2 weeks at a time, as of right now anyway. And then maybe in a year I'll be able to go for longer.
It's okay. I think we all have the proper condition to help us too. You have to go with the flow of what you got. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I look back on it, everybody had so many different journeys, but it's also like maybe you're not meant to do that right now, like go there for that long time. And you are definitely like meant to at this time. So it's not like there are minds you're going to find in work and things you need to overcome that like you wouldn't have been able to find maybe if you just stayed there. And there's things that you wouldn't have found if I think the universe helps us out. So you just follow the flow. As long as you have the flow to the heart to go to the end, like, and that's what's the most important, then everybody has different conditions. So
yeah, it's really even, for my case, I feel like it's such like a perfect like story because it's like I'm also turning 30 in October. So it's like I'm finishing out my 20s and starting a new chapter, and like everything's sort of like happening at once. So I'm like, wow, I was like, I couldn't have written a better story. Like it just really works out. So
awesome,
what you said
man.
about like, if when you on that universe flow, like things just happen.
Yes. So true.
How long have you been meditating?
I walked into a center a little more than 12 years ago, believe it or not. I was 21 I was 21 at the time. I was 21. I felt like I was really old. It's funny to look back on it. Like I really thought I was such a grown man, but looking back on it, I was just a kid. But yeah, when I was 21, that's the first time I walked into the center.
And what brought you there?
So a lot of different things were going on in my mind at the time. I just had a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of worries. I was even suicidal, like really didn't want to live, but I really acted like I was fine. And so I always lived with that unease inside. And really, I was interested about meditation. I've been reflecting about it a lot, what made me start. From a very young age, I remember hearing about meditation. It just always seemed very cool to me. I don't know why, like Asian culture and like meditation in general, it seems like, wow, like that's cool. Like to be like master your mind. Like, do you ever see like Beverly Hills Ninja with Chris Farley? You never see that? But there's like scene, he's like in the universe, like he's there, but his body's like oh, whatever. So I was like, wow, that's cool. And actually my best friend when I was like a real small kid, like young age, he was the first person who ever talked about meditation to me. And I actually totally forgot about this. Like his dad taught him how to meditate, but we were like 5 and he's like, let's meditate. And I was like, all right, cool. And he's like, let's imagine, you were in an elevator and you went up, we did like this visualization thing and you get out of the elevator and it's like beautiful place and it's very peaceful. You're very happy and you just stay there for like a minute and then, all right, let's go down now, whatever. But that's just introduced me, sparked my interest in meditation. And then fast forward to my early 20s, I was just open-minded into that kind of thing. And I was searching for some kind of relief. Yeah, searching for some kind of relief.
It's interesting that, like, you mentioned being suicidal, but what separates some people in that state and then others is, like, they actually do have a desire to get better. Like, it's not totally hopeless, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have walked into that center.
Yeah, that's true, right? I think we all have false and truth within us. And when I look back on it, I really feel like I was like guided. I think we all are. But I was getting helped, even though I didn't realize I was getting helped. But yes, like the Bible quote, like I don't even know if it's a Bible quote, but the quote of you seek and you shall find. I believe it's a Bible quote. Like you knock the door, you have to knock the door for it to open. Like you have to open the door, right? So yeah, you have to take that step to actually look for help. And if you don't believe you're going to get better, you're not gonna, right? But what pushed me to look too was like, I was interested. I knew there must have been other people on the earth besides for me that had the same kind of thoughts, that were dealing with the same kind of things and actually changed, So I'm very lucky for whatever reason. I always had the feeling like if someone else can do it, I can do it too. That's really lucky that I could have that in my mind. But yeah, I always can just keep talking. What stopped me from, to take a turn, what's coming to my mind of like, what stopped me from committing suicide or doing suicide was really that I couldn't be honest with myself that I knew what happens when someone dies.
Right.
I could not say, like, I confidently know, like, I was in so much pain, so I wanted to escape that pain. I thought there's a chance that it would be like before I was born. So then, like, okay, it's over, right? So in that case, like, the pain would end, right? Mm-hmm. But I had the question of, what if it doesn't end? I can't be like 100% sure. Like, I think nothing happens, but like, what if I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if I'm just like in this dream of like, you know what I mean? And I would really play that out. Like, that's how, I don't know, it's messed up, but it's, I think it's good to be open and talk about that. I would think about too, like, if you jump from a building, like, you think about like all the different options, but if you, I'm sorry to be like laughing about this, but whatever, it's after. So like, but this is just real. This is real. I'm not, but like, so I'm not, I'm walking everybody off the ledge. Like, I think that's amazing. Those people who, like, there's people actually at the George Washington Bridge. That's their job. They look for people, they have nets up now. That's how many people. So, but I thought about, somebody who jumps off the bridge, right? Or into the water, first off, you're not guaranteed to die. There's people who survive it, right? And if you hear those people who survive it, that's the coolest podcast you'll listen to, is like their story of like, and they always dedicate themselves to try to save people after that. But what I was saying was, I thought like, what about that? If there's like that pain, even if it's for like a second, what if your body can feel the pain? Like that must be like so. I know that's very extreme, but those things stopped me from committing suicide.
I always used to say, like, I'm not afraid of death, I'm afraid of pain. And that was, like, something that kept me from actually inflicting harm upon myself, too. And kind of what you said about not being sure of what's going to happen next, because I don't know if I said it in one of the last episodes, but I know I was telling you recently that I was, like, in the middle of a anxiety attack, realizing that, like, I felt like I want this pain to end, but I don't think death will save me. Because the pain is internal and it's not a physical pain. And I don't know that dying, my physical body dying, would actually relieve me of any of that. And so it was kind of like torture at the time, because it was like there was no escape. Like I felt like I was living in hell. But at the same time, it's probably the reason that I was able to search and find this, because I knew I needed to do something to come out of there. And killing myself wasn't the answer, you know? And that's even now, when I struggle, I just remind myself, like, I have no other option. There's literally nothing else for me to do. Like, it's not a choice. I have to keep going.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. That's deep. I think, and your innate thing is wisdom, for sure. I feel. Like, you know how everybody has like a big superpower. I think you're very, very wise, and for you not to, I'll tell you what I've told you before probably, but you're very good natured. That's what I feel from you. Like I trust Matthew I trust you too, but it's still, you know what I'm saying? Like I would leave Matthew any situation. Like I don't know. Anyway, I just trust him that he's good natured.
Yeah.
Very good nature.
Because I'm Spanish, right?
You know, it's kind of interesting like hearing both of you guys talk about that, because I think, you know, I also had like similar thing with like thinking about like dying, or like, you know, you go to bed like don't want to wake up in the morning, you know, having those kind of thoughts and stuff. And like it's interesting because you guys thought about like, oh, like you don't know what happens when you die, and like for me it was a little different, because I thought about like probably a quote I saw somewhere, it's probably on social media or from some movie or something, but like basically when it's like it's not afraid of dying, I'm afraid of not truly living. And so that was something for me where it's like, for me, purpose was a big thing of like, you know, like why am I here? What am I meant to do? And so for me, it's like dying was easy, right? It's living was kind of hard, and trying to find like why I'm here, and that's what sort of was driving me to keep going and try to like find something. And that eventually obviously led me here to meditation. But yeah, that was like my sort of big motivator.
Anybody listen to Hamilton?
Awesome. Hamilton? Yeah. Watch you mean the show?
The musical.
Yeah, the musical. Yeah.
Just reminded me of a quote. He said, dying is easy, young man. Living is harder.
I haven't watched Hamilton, but yeah, that's what I'm like, I know I've heard that quote somewhere.
It sounded cool.
It's been
50 Cent,
somewhere.
too.
Yeah, probably.
Death gotta be easy, because life is hard. It'll leave you emotionally scarred.
Yeah.
Matthew, purpose, man. Yeah. You're chasing purpose.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, too, is like, I think we can, you know, for like, obviously when you're going through it, it's not funny, but I think we're laughing about it now, because like we've overcome it and we've gotten to a better place.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? I was thinking about when I was thinking about myself, I was laughing, and when I was listening to you, I felt sad. But you. I don't know if you had that feeling too.
No,
but
I do, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the reality of our lives. It's like kind of sad though, but I feel like sometimes you have to hit rock bottom in order to come out and, you know, rise to the top. Because some people, I feel bad when they're actually like, they're living okay. And it almost like, it gives them no reason to seek more.
It's so true. I think that's why stuff like this is so important. That's why we're doing this. It's like, you don't have to wait until you're about to jump off the bridge to realize you got to change. Like if you just are on social media and something like this catches you, you can maybe open you up to be real with yourself. Like, wait, like, what am I doing? I'm not happy in my life right now. Like, I need to find something higher, something greater. You know what I'm saying? But most people, we're forced to go to rock bottom, right? And then it's the only way to go up.
That's just how it had to start.
It's funny as I'm listening, as like my mind just goes to like movie and like TV show quotes and stuff. And I remember for you've ever heard of like the Legend of Korra, which is like a animated series from like the Avatar: The Last Airbender universe. Which I mean, I love animation. I remember a quote from like it was like the season finale of season 1, and it was like, when we reach our lowest point is when we're open to the greatest change.
Wow.
So that's what was like popped into my head as you guys were saying.
Avatar is so wise.
It really is.
That show.
That's so true. Too, and if you think about it, even in your meditation journey too, or like even in the day to day, always when you go down is when you're going up.
Mm-hmm.
It just gets a little shorter and you get a little wiser,
Right.
but there's still the ins and outs of things that could happen, right? Like for me as a helper, let's say like some meditators, they stop on their journey or they get drawn into other things or something. That's what could be like painful as a helper. So like that could be a down, but then it makes you like, okay, so how can I improve myself as a helper? How can I, these kind of things or whatever, and whatever it is in life, whatever you go through, and even in diet, exercise, even whatever, it's like when you change, and always that next hump was higher than the last hump,
Why did you want to become a helper?
Why did I want to become a helper? So when I finished the meditation, I really got joy out of helping others. I didn't know I wanted to do it full time. It's the first time I actually felt like that's really what I want to do. I don't know. It was just in my heart. Like, it wasn't like I was looking for it. Even from the time I started the meditation, I wasn't thinking that I wanted to become a helper at all. I was really into business. I just thought like it would be like a side. I'd be a businessman who knows how to meditate, And for most people, that's what their journey is. Anyway, they still do their work. But when I was in the main center, I even remember I was walking past like a whiteboard. I was in maybe like level 5 or 6, whatever. And like I was like, I want to draw like the. I don't know, like I just really liked like that.
There is something so amazing about actually drawing.
I was like, let me try it, and I drew like I was like, but I like felt something inside too. I was like, man, I like this. And then I was still, while you're there, they have the training there, like that you could at least do part time. Like then you could do it part time once you get back. So I did the training in the main center because like at least I could be able to do it part time. But when I did that training, I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. Like, this is so cool. It's like a behind the scene of like, really getting to know what Sisnim and Sisnim were, their perspective of helping people, to go to the truth. And it really helped myself too, to be more reflective and all these things, and learning from the helpers there. It was like, wow, this is really amazing. Like, I love how they're living in that kind of way, like just like dedicated to helping other people, helping this world. And yeah, just really, it's the first thing that I felt like being pulled to it kind of too, but I was kind of scared of it also, like in a way of like, man, like that's not what I want to do, or that's not, but like inside it was like, I knew that that's what was best for me. I don't know how to describe that exactly, but when I got back to the center, I was helping like 3 days a week. Whenever I was doing that, I would do it in the evening after work, like 3 days a week, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. When I was helping people, I just loved it. Like, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed helping people. Just listening to them and giving them the method how to actually do it. And so I knew like, wow, I should do it. And I loved, the biggest thing that excited me was seeing people change. Like when people tell me their story of how they change, fires me up. Yeah. Like really, it's like, wow, that's so great. Like Jose, who was just here, he was saying, how much he's changing, his relationship with his family and in work. Like people are noticing like, yo, what are you doing? You look so different and your act is here. That makes me like, wow, this is so great. And then also the other point is I went from being suicidal to loving life and living with purpose and being happy. I felt like, how could I not give that back, right? Like, or help someone else. I know that there was someone else like me out there who was struggling like that was looking for this. And anyway, I'm really honored that I could do this work. Yeah, really honored to be able to do this work.
I felt similarly about that too. Like, I mean, Claire's always kind of said too, like, it's very natural that when you're in a good place and you see somebody suffering, like, of course you naturally want to help them, right? Especially when you know that you have tools that can help them. and yeah, that's a big reason I want to be a helper myself. So, yeah.
It's awesome. You're going to help a lot of people.
And you've helped me a lot too. Yeah.
And
Next to Claire, I think you're like up there with like person who's given me a lot of good insight and advice and stuff. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same here.
Thank you.
Yeah, why do you look shocked?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You guys?
No.
I remember I was at my first like retreat, and it was just like, you know, it was like a lot of like mind was coming up, and I wasn't feeling so great, so I kind of stepped aside, you know, just to relax a bit. And Blake came over, talked to me, like brought me some like tea and stuff. So I was like, yeah, definitely always appreciate your kind words and support.
I appreciate you, man. I just try to give back what I got helped, and I got helped so much by Sis Neem and Aunt Sis Neem, the founders of the meditation. And I always say the thing I could feel from them that I always try to get across, and I think you can feel from all the helpers, and that's anybody who's going through this. Hopefully you can feel that at the meditation center from the helpers, from the Cham helpers, the Yopar, is like they have pure intention to truly help, right? Like you can feel that, and it's not easy to find that in the world. And that's what from Sis Neem and Sis Neem, they had pure intention just to help me to live a happy, healthy life and live forever as one with the truth. So
yeah, I definitely felt that when I came to the center the first time. Because I knew Claire was nice, but I was like, but it's different. It's a different nice. Like, you know, like there's no ulterior motive in there. Like she's genuinely just like happy to be there and happy to help, you know. And I mean, the same for the other helpers too, but yeah, it was like, and it was very consistent. There was like no day where she was like in a bad mood or something, you know what I mean? It's like, where else do you get that?
Yeah. And even over the years of like knowing Claire, is like she just seemed even happier when I first met her. So
actually, I remember her saying like, she was like, I guarantee I'll be happier like each day. Like next year I'll be happier than I am now. And she said that somebody asked her like, how can you know that? And she was like, easy, just like how you know you're going to be sadder than you are now, like if you're not doing this work.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
that's great. She's great. She helped me a lot too. A lot.
I know she used to be a helper here too, so you two used to work together.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Yeah. She helped me a lot too. Out of like other fellow helpers, she's someone who her words and what she says really helps me. Really helps a lot. And she does a great job, so it's really great to learn from her too.
Yeah, always, I'll be going through something. I'll talk to Claire and I'm like, yeah, she's right. Yeah. Which kind of helps you also to move on. We're like, all right, you know, somebody's sort of seeing your situation objectively and like can just try to tell you how it is, you know, and that helps you get over it too, which is like, I think it's really the benefit of having like a helper and working with somebody who's like been through it is like they can kind of see objectively like, yeah, like this is what you're going through. Like it's not a big deal.
Exactly. And it goes through the other point too of pure intentions. Like who in your life can you actually tell that's like not gonna, it's very hard to find someone who's gonna actually, because they have their own like thing of they want to be right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like for instance, like someone's dad's like, no, you know, you do this and that. Like even if they don't know they're doing it, or the mom's gonna say, oh no, take like the safer choice of this, you know, just as an example. And your friend's gonna be like, you know, people try to get you on their side without even realizing it. But that's what's so cool about being able to talk to a helper is like they're genuinely trying to help, you know. And also like our job too. Why is it even called a helper? We just help. So it's not even about giving the advice and all those things. It's more of helping you, like helping us to find the answer from within ourselves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like you said, like, oh, she's right, because she probably didn't try to make herself seem right. She probably tried to ask you questions and stuff to help you reflect on like, yeah, I got it. I know what I need to do. I know what I need to let go of. You know what I'm saying?
I always thought that was so cool. How, like, she'll never tell you what to do. She'll just help you realize what you want to do or what you should do, you know. Yeah.
Basically, it's like helping you to see yourself and kind of Essentially, it's the helpers are just holding up a mirror, basically, helping you to see yourself, and then you kind of realize, okay. Or sometimes she'll say something, and about 3 months later, I'll realize, oh, okay, that's what she meant. That happens all the time, but it takes time to sometimes get to that point of realization.
That's what we need. I mean, nobody wants to be told. We don't take it the right way anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If someone just tells you, oh, no, do this, do that, you're not going to listen. Right. Sometimes you do the opposite.
Yeah. Because you have to, like, see it for yourself to know why or understand.
Exactly.
So we wanted to talk about what is truth? What is the universe? Do you think you can tell us?
Sure, I'll do my best. First off, it's not something we do our best to describe things with words, but it's more of something to feel, right? To really know in your heart about this. And doing meditation is what helps you to actually realize about this. For me, what is truth, what is God, is the existence that existed forever before, is here right now, no matter what, will continue to exist forever after. The creator, that everything in this world came from there. Everything in this world one day goes back to there. The existence that, let's say hypothetically, there's a fire in the whole universe, right? No material can survive. The earth disappears, all the stars disappear, the planets disappear, everything disappears. Can you think about that, like, hypothetically? And then even it kept burning for 1,000,000 years, and then the fire went out. The truth can't disappear. God, Buddha, Allah, the universe, that existence, that's what will be left. So to me, that is God, and that is here now, and that is within us. And we're coming from that, and we actually are that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For a long time, I didn't really know what God was. I guess we all, like, sometimes as kids you have that image of, like, the man in the sky kind of person who's, like, just, like, watching, I guess. But when I heard it explained like this in meditation, I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. Like, it's logical, and it also just feels right. Like, and there's almost, like, you can't even deny that that's true. Everything you just said, like, it's like a fact that universe existed before. It's like not going anywhere. How can you destroy that? So it feels really cool to actually finally, like, understand what that is.
Like, how big is that? How valuable is that?
Yeah. Were you, like, spiritual at all before? I think you kind of said.
Yeah. I was always very spiritual, even though I didn't really, I guess, express it, but I was, from as long as I can remember, always thinking about the ways of the world, like, why are we here? What's the purpose of my life? What happens when someone dies? And being, like, fascinated and, like, asking a lot of questions about those things. Like, I remember what's coming to my mind is I remember when my mom was pregnant with my younger brother, I was just, like, blown away. Like, where did he come from? And everyone has that, like, not besides for, like, and, like, really thinking, like, before, like, even whatever. I think I even knew about that at the time. But, like, how actually, the birds and the bees, but but you know what I'm saying? Where did he come from? And it was just like what? Like, there's, like, it just, like, blew my mind of, like, like, we're, like, the same as, like, animals. Like, there's, like, like, something like that, some kind of psychedelic, like, feeling of, like, you have, like, another human inside you, but we're like, oh yeah, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and, like, it's like, wait, like, what? This is crazy, Right. And then that was an unreal experience, and then seeing him be born, it's like, wow, this is really, like, amazing. What's going on here? And then when I was in 2nd grade, one of my friends died, choking. I wasn't there, but that really blew my mind too. I couldn't, like, get off it, like, it's like, where did he go? And, like, what happened? Like, and also it totally connected with me that I can die too. Like, I don't know how that doesn't connect with people, but for some reason, people are, like, 70 years old and still acting like they're not going to die. Like, I just thought, like, if he died choking, like, damn, like, that could happen to me. And when I would ask my parents about it, when I would ask the people around me about it, like, where did he go? Like, what happened to him? the answer, let me just say, the answers that they gave me, they did not seem confident in those answers. So it was like, wow, they really don't know. Like, oh, he went to heaven, he's in great place. Like, and I'm not to say whatever, but what I'm saying is I could tell that they didn't have full confidence in what they were saying. And that just made me so curious. And I felt like, wow, isn't this like important to know? And then I was always investigating into that. And I was always like curious about society, the ways of the world, all those things. Like I would hear like the miracles that happen, you know, the religious stories, like Moses parting the seas. I'd be like, damn, like that was like how long, like is something like that gonna happen like now? You know what I mean? Like I would be like, damn, like what's going on here? Yeah, so I was always very spiritually in tune with that and always like into that. And even actually from the time I was 12, I prayed every single night. I wasn't raised religious at all, but I actually went to my friend's house for dinner, and the family, like before eating dinner, was like, let's pray together. And the prayer they said was, thank you, God, for the food we eat, the friends we meet. God, thank you for everything. And for whatever reason, that really hit my heart. And from that time, I started to say that every night. I don't know why, but I started to say that every night. And yeah, so to your question, yes, I was spiritual. I know I'm someone who can continually talk. So yeah.
It sounds like from a young age you were kind of like almost meant to take this path. You're always have that experience kind of set you on it.
Yes, for sure.
In retrospect, everything makes sense.
So how would you say that your relationship with spirituality and universe and God changed through meditation?
Sure. So I could say I really realized that I didn't know anything when I started to really do the deep work, and that after doing the work, I could come to know, but I could only come to know things to the extent that my ego or false self disappeared. Like that was the only way to know things. So as much as I let go of this false self, that's as much as I could realize about the world and about myself too. So the process of letting go, it changed everything spiritually. To be able to really feel like the universe is wrapping me in love. Always was, but I didn't know that, couldn't feel that. But now I really live feeling like that. And there's nothing better than that. Yeah.
You feel like it's always with you.
Another like change that comes to mind for me that I realized from talking to Claire is that people like to talk about right from wrong and what like making good decisions and morals and stuff like that people, I think a lot of people get their morals from their religion and stuff like that. But through this meditation, I started changing some habits that I had, I'll say. Maybe not go into all the details, but
give the details. I'm kidding. You don't have, no, you don't know. Whatever. I'm playing with you.
Well, anyway, I just like made decisions to like stop doing things that I was doing, and like that was just like better for me, but then also just like it just didn't feel right, I guess, or like I started to feel like more conscious of maybe this is a bad decision. I don't know. Like I know there's technically no like right and wrong, but you know, something didn't sit right with what I was doing. And we were talking about it, and she kind of like helped me realize that when you meditate and you become like cleaner and more connected to truth, you just naturally gravitate towards those things. Like you just naturally like make healthier decisions, and you start to kind of see, or like I kind of feel weird saying right and wrong because I don't know if there's a technical right and wrong, but versus the other way is like having somebody tell you, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, this is bad, this is, but coming to that realization on your own and just deciding to do those things because it feels natural now, because you're in that place. You don't need somebody to tell you what's right and wrong. You don't need somebody to tell you what you should do, or you just already know you should do it. Yeah, it's different when it comes from the inside and not somebody telling you what you should or shouldn't do.
Definitely. That's beautiful. That's huge.
Yeah, I think I guess what I really like about it, everything we've just been saying, is that like when you're doing this inner work or you're getting into spirituality, like it has very like real effects and changes in your life. You know, because I think, you know, sometimes we hear the universe or truth or God or spirituality and we think it's some like, you know, abstract, you know, woo-woo thing that monks do.
Yeah, exactly.
But like when you actually start doing this, you realize that it actually changes like your life completely. And, you know, like Leanne says, like you realize sort of what's serving you and what's not. You know, and so yeah, I think it's practical really for your everyday life.
Definitely. That's one of the things I love the most about this practice. Like even I remember when they said like, oh, you're going to meet like what's his name, the one who founded the meditation, you know, I was expecting like some guy's going to come in with like robes and stuff. Like I just thought, you know, like whatever, like, and that's fine too. I'm not against like, but that's what I thought. He's going to have like beard and robes and like, oh, he's just like wearing like a golf shirt and like, you know, like, so yeah. So I really love that also about the meditation. Not that I have nothing against all of the other things, just like I just said, but I thought it was really cool. It was just like, this is just real people just doing the work, you know. It's not there's no smoke and mirrors, you know what I'm saying?
Makes it more like relatable and more attainable in a way. Yeah,
it's the most practical actually, if we think of like, yeah, because when we say spirituality, even you say, I think it's changed a lot. I started 12 years ago. When you said the word meditation, people think like that, oh, some guy with a beard or this and that or taking drugs or blah blah blah. Like they really think of that. Like when I would say I'll do meditation, like people thought like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? But it's not that at all. I mean, now it's changed. It's more practical. All the athletes do it. Even all the CEOs do it, things like this. But spirituality is actually very practical, right? For me, it's just why I say spirituality too is like, because yeah, I'm not saying a particular religion, but still believing in a higher power. You know, I think that's always where I was. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are like that too. Right. And not to say like, it's great. Like we have everybody from every religion comes to meditate. It's going to make you understand it better, you know, but we got to actually become how Jesus was talking about. We got to actually become how Buddha was talking about. We got to actually become, you know, how any of the saints and sages and enlightened people were talking about. The point is to actually become that way, not just say, oh, I do this, but, you know, I'm not actually living that way. Right. But anyway, meditation helps you to do that and truly, truly connect.
This kind of reminded me, and now I feel like sharing it. I don't know if you guys saw the movie about Fred Rogers. I think it was called A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Yeah. What do they call? What do they?
Tom Hanks played.
Yes, but Mr. Rogers. Yeah, because you said Fred Rogers. It threw me off. No. I love that movie.
Who's Fred Rogers? And you said Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood. Like, oh, okay.
Or Beautiful. I forget which one it is.
Yeah, I think that's what he said, didn't he? I love that movie. It's a must watch. I think.
I haven't watched it.
It's an okay movie.
You didn't like it? I really liked it. And I remember like telling people like, yo, you gotta watch this.
Definitely growing up, but I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah. So Mr. Rogers apparently would meditate like 2 hours like before every time he shot an episode. But anyway, one of the quotes in the movie that stood out to me was the only thing really throughout the whole movie that really, I mean, it was an okay movie.
It's good, all right? If you're listening to this, go watch it. Trust me. What's the IMDb? Look it up. I don't know. Do we even trust IMDb anymore? I don't know. Do you use IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes?
IMDb.
Yeah, I usually look at Rotten Tomatoes.
But I don't usually look at reviews. I mean, like, I don't look at the ratings. I just...
Yeah. Just go.
Yeah. Anyway, one of the quotes or the lines was, the guy, I guess the main character, said to Mr. Rogers' wife, he said, how do you feel knowing your husband is such a saint, something like that? And she was like, I don't like that term, because she said, when you say that, you make it sound like it's something that's unattainable, or that he was like, you know, bored with this or something. But she was like, he works at this every single day of his life. And like, it's not just like it magically became this, you know, wise and open and heartfelt man. Like, he literally every single day practices this. And I was like,
I love that. And it's so weird. Have you heard me talking about being a saint lately?
No.
Really? Even you were in the group class when I was talking about it?
Oh.
No. You weren't then. You weren't then. Let me take some water. No, you weren't then.
In like the online class, you mean?
I mean, I was in your class, but I don't remember what you said about me.
No, it's a lecture I've been talking about, and not to look, it's on the lines of what you're saying, is that's in the books. And I remember that was something that like stuck out to me, is that it says like now's the era when anybody can become a saint and a sage.
Okay.
Anybody can become a righteous person. And what really got me to think about that, another movie too, that got me on this, like I watched that movie, then I read that quote, and then I've been on this, talking about this lecture, and it's really been motivating me, and I think it's motivating people, is, did you see the movie, what's it called? Sound of Freedom. It's in the theaters. You saw it? Oh, you went to go see it?
Yeah, I did.
So yeah, we could talk about how you felt about it.
It inspired me to see it, actually. I kept seeing it, and then you said something, and somebody else said something, and I was like, I gotta see this movie. It's
good to be aware of what goes on in the world, right? And have that perspective, right? But I'm like, I was very, you probably were too, anybody with a heart. It's like, you were a big heart. So but you get hit by that movie, right? So it does something in you. It made me very emotional, made me very angry, made me very like, what can I do to help like that, right? Because you feel kind of helpless in a way. It's like, right?
So those almost exactly.
Really? Yeah. You feel helpless in a way, but it's not, right? Like for the world to change, we need a consciousness shift. Yeah. And then back on, let's look at the movement Gandhi had, right? He made a lot of change. What was his main quote? You got to be the change you want to see in the world, right? So it really starts from within. So I was thinking about that. And then I picked up the book, and it was talking about now's the time anybody can become a saint and a sage. And I remember Sisneem's always talking about that you got to become that. And what does it mean? A saint doesn't mean, and that word gets messed up. I started to ask people, like, when I say saint, what do you think? Or like what you were saying? Oh, like a goody two shoes. Someone said someone who follows all the rules. And then someone said like, oh, someone who's perfect, or this or that. And Sisneem broke it down and said, a saint is someone who loves the truth more than themselves. Just very simply. And that's what we're supposed to become. Even Jesus said you got to love God over everything else, right? So if we can become someone who loves the truth over everything else and lives for the world. So how do we become that? We have to get rid of all of our attachments. All that stuff goes on in the world because we have attachments. People are compromised by money and by lust. So that's why that happens. They say, hey, because the government, whatever, people know there's things going on, like that can be stopped if they really want to, right? But they say like, hey, you don't look this way or that way, and you're going to have $5 million in your bank account, every week or whatever it is, right? And they say, okay, let's let the sex trafficking go on, right? But if they're not compromised by greed and money, then that's not going to go on. But we love to look at what the politicians are doing and say, oh, they're doing this, and what celebrities do. Oh, we have to look at ourselves. Like, if you're listening to this, like, you're compromised by something. Like, we're all compromised by things. Whether it's money, whether it's lust, whether it's fame, reputation, even family. Oh, you do this or that, and your son's going to go to Harvard. Like, whatever it is, you're compromised by your attachments. So in order to actually become a saint and a sage, we need to let go of all those things. And that's how the world changes. If we actually do that work, right? If we actually let go of all those things, we can actually become truth, because we're coming from there. That's the place before we're born. We have that within us, and you can cleanse your mind, but we have to do that actual work, right? And the point is not to just read the Bible, Buddha Sutras, all those things and not become it. We got to actually become it. Jesus said you got to absolve yourself of all your sins. That's what you got to repent. Repent just means renewing your mind. Repent just means giving back what you stole. So we have to actually, Buddha said to get rid of all your attachments, whichever one you read. We have to actually do that work. And if we go within and I want to go to another level. So I'm trying to think about who's myself that's really doing that and living that and really matching to that. So I'm trying to, there's always like a chase of that. Like you asked, how could you upgrade from Eastland? Now I'm thinking a lot about my energy these days. That's why I'm doing fasting. That's why I'm doing the black turmeric. So I can do more, whatever. I'm trying to be more prepared. I can endlessly grow. I'm not perfect. And endlessly look within my mind of how I can help. So the way is within first, and then that existence work within you out. You know what I mean? So anyway, that was a rant, but I'm really excited. I'm really pumped up about that.
Inspiring.
I'm pumped up about that.
Yeah, I think one thing too, like you mentioned, like getting rid of attachments. Like I think a lot of people when we hear like, oh, let me get rid of my attachments, that means I can't have money or I can't have this. Or
yeah, I was thinking
thank you for touching on
that.
That
doesn't actually mean that, right? Like you can still have those things, but like it's your mind that changes, right? And one thing I know from like my journey, and of course talking to Claire and helpers, it's like you can like have those things, But if you don't have them, you're not going to be upset about it. Basically, like, you feel okay whether they're there or not.
Thank you so much for bringing that up, because nobody, and people, I should be aware of, everybody listening to this, what are you talking about with that, right? But you got to think about let's think about it. Who's going to be more successful in the world? Someone who's focused, someone who can do what they're doing, someone who you can trust, someone who takes care of themselves physically, mentally, is positive, right? Is humble, listens to others, works hard. These are all universal traits. That person is actually more valuable to the marketplace than anyone else. It's not doing it for that, but so you won't lack materialistically, but it's where the priorities are, right? Like your priority is truth within you and living as your true self. Then after that, everything will flow even more, but you do the right things with it. Right. But the other way, if you're compromised by it, it's never enough no matter what, right? It's a losing game, man. And finally, we're starting to figure that out. People are on the mass scales figuring that out. Like, I think, like our parents, I'm older than you, but let's say we're somewhat all the same age. Like our parents' generation is really about you get the money, you get the vacation, they're really in that way, because that's how they grew up. But I think like our generation with kids is like actually different. If you think about like my friends who have kids and stuff, they're not really on that. Like, oh, my kid needs to be a doctor. They're not on that at all. So it's already changing. It just takes time to change, to realize. And there's nothing wrong with being a doctor. There's nothing wrong with, that's great. There's nothing wrong with being successful and making a lot of money. But the emphasis has to be, why did we even do that in the first place? We got to be truly happy, right? Truly happy, truly healthy, If you're driving around in the best car with a nice house, but you want to blow your brains out, what's the point? Right. Is there any point to that? You could have big, beautiful house, right? And inside your family's all fighting with, I hate you, mom, and all these kind of stuff, and slamming the door and everything. Like is that a good house to live in? If you have a big, beautiful house and everybody, getting along and truly love each other, great. But it's the priority switch, Thank you for bringing that up. It's a good point, because I didn't understand that point too. And I was also like, I didn't get it. I understood the point of that money is not going to bring me true happiness, but also I didn't understand fully about letting go of your attachments, what that means. It just means you're not a slave to it.
Yeah. How do we get there? How do we do that, Blake?
How do we get there? We have a method. You're doing it. You're doing the work. Like that's, like how thankful is that, man? Yeah. It's so thankful, because so one of the people who helped me in helper training, he was a monk for 10 years. He was also a doctor for 10 years. I think he was a doctor for 10 years, then he was a monk for 10 years. And then whichever one it was, whether he was a doctor for 10 years and a monk for 10 years, whatever order it was, then he came to the meditation. When he came to that we're doing, right? And when he came there, he did the level 1, letting go of the remembered thoughts. He was doing monk training, so he is not, you got to do it 50 times, right? That usually takes people, it can take them, if they do it really diligently, it could take them a week. If they do it, slowly, it could take them a month. It could take them a year. Some people now, they come, and that's okay, everybody on their own pace. But what I'm trying to say is he did it all in, he just stayed up all night and he did the 50 cycles, okay? So he was doing meditation where you just sit there and do nothing. He was doing meditation where you just sit there and ask questions in your mind, just focus on the breath. He was doing all kinds of things. And to try to find the truth, to try to find the universe, right? And when he threw away all the 50 cycles and when he enlightened the, level 1 enlightenment, then he said he cries so much. And he cries so much because he spent 10 years, like a sad cry of like, he wasted so much time. And it's not again, but like he wasn't really letting go of the attachments. He spent so much time just like in silence instead of discarding. And then the other half was like, he was so happy that he found a way how to actually let go of it, And then, he brought like all his monk friends and everything too, But when I was in the main center, there was a lot of monks there actually. And even nuns too. But yeah, so how we get there is following the method. And what I was saying was how lucky we are to get there. How lucky we are that we have a method to get there.
I didn't think about this until you said that, but the other types of meditation that I tried, you don't think you're doing it, but you're kind of suppressing. Like when people say they're like, oh, don't think, just, focus on breathing. But at the same time, like those thoughts need to surface so that they can come out, and then you can, release them. Can't really do that if you're shooing them away, right? Kind of.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we didn't know everybody doing their best, I think, until they find something that works for them, and definitely you can reach some points of relaxation, of enlightenment from doing that, from pressing it down. But yeah, I found that it's the most powerful to let it go, to learn how to actually give it, right? Learn how to actually throw it away, learn how to actually do the practice of letting it go. Because when we stuff it down, it's just kind of like not looking at it for some bit, and then you can realize, but then later it's back. One of the most amazing things about what we do here is you actually change in the real moment, right? Like what we were talking about, like actually changed. So not only while you're meditating, but at work, you're more patient with the people that you work with. At home, you're talking to your wife better, and you can see her point of view. Or with your kids, you have wisdom of how to teach them how to do something. When something happens that used to trigger you, it doesn't trigger you anymore because you did the work of letting go of that. So that's a real practice, would really help you to do that. And really, we're so lucky we have a method how to do that.
Something else that literally just kind of like mini enlightenment that I just experienced as you were saying that, is that stuckness that we feel like. So you talked about suppressing and then letting out. Everything in life is give and take, right? There's the flow of nature, there's the ebb and flow, there's the sun and rain and all of that. Like literally every single thing in life, there's like opposite.
Give and take. Opposite, negative, positive.
Yeah.
Yin
And
and
the
yang.
only thing that doesn't do that is our mind. And like, no wonder we're so miserable, right? Because we always been stuffing, but we never let it out, and we never had that same flow that everything else had.
So true.
It's the only one.
If you eat and don't go to the bathroom, you're gonna die.
Exactly.
So if we put in all these emotions and feelings and thoughts, I mean, how can we expect to feel okay? We have to let it go.
I mean, I think we kind of touched upon this, but where is God?
Where is God? God is, to give you the answer, let's go to any religion, philosophy, ideology you look at to the answer to that question. If you look in Christianity, Jesus said, God is within you. Heaven, which is God's land, is within your mind. If you look in Buddhism, Buddha said that Buddha is within you, which just means the universe, and the land of bliss, which is Buddha's land, is within your mind. And also in Islam, they say Allah is within you, and paradise, which is Allah's land, is within your mind. So that existence is within us, but it's completely covered up by our human mind. And our human mind is made of everything that we took in from the life that we lived, the habits that we got from our ancestors. Like if you never even met your parents, there's traits that you got that are covering it, and also the minds that we stored in the body. So that existence is within us, but it's covered by the life we live, the habits from the ancestors in the body. If you get rid of that, discard it, let it go, then that existence will be left. And then if you're born and live as that existence, you can live always as one with that existence.
It's very cool. Very crazy.
It's so fortunate.
Yeah.
Like we have that within us.
Do you have any tips for people? I know you've been posting a lot about like how to develop yourself, right? Physically, spiritually.
Yeah.
What are some like spiritual tips you have for people?
The spiritual tips, sure.
Yeah. I mean, you can talk about both if you want.
Yeah.
Especially for like people maybe who like aren't meditating.
Yeah,
or,
like what can the average
into
Joe?
this, like...
Of course. Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. So yeah, to develop, it's not just one. That I think that's important. I think for some point I missed that. You have to do all three. I have to do all three. Let me talk about myself. Okay? So I have to develop myself. I do it every day. Spiritually, physically, mentally. So for me, spiritually is meditation, journaling, prayer. Physically is any form of exercise. You know, I like to follow a plan, and I like to weightlift, I like to do calisthenics, I like to walk, whatever. Might be something different for you, but you have to be moving your body, taking care of yourself, and eating good, healthy foods. whatever that is for you. There's a lot of different opinions about that one, right? You got to eat only meat. You got to eat vegan, right? So I got it. Whatever that is for you, let me just say that. Just be healthy. And then mentally is there's things you're interested in. You have to always be growing and learning. You have to always be developing yourself in that area. So for me, I do meditation. So I'm reading about spirituality. I'm reading about leadership. I'm reading about developing the mind, psychology, these kinds of things. Whatever it is you want to develop yourself in, that you're interested in, then learning about it. You're interested in graphic design. That would be part of that. And people get overwhelmed every day. How can I have time for that? Like, I heard this quote from Jim Rohn. It's amazing. If you work super hard on yourself, then you're going to make a fortune, right? If you work super hard on your job, then you'll make a living, you know? So it's like, yes, work super hard on your job too. But if you work hard on yourself first, it's like what we talked about before. It's the order. If you work hard on yourself first, everything flows. So I have to make the time for that. Let me say that. Even if that's waking up earlier, whatever. For me, it's a non-negotiable. Like, you put on clothes before you came outside, right? It's just what you make up your mind. Like, I'm not going to go outside. I didn't do the laundry, whatever. Like, it's excuses. You know, let me talk about myself, you know? I made a lot of excuses, man. It's a non-negotiable for me. Just like doing that, I have to develop spiritually, physically, mentally. And there's days where it's crazy and things went out of my control and there's all kind of things going on. Guess what? Then I'm going to do 3 minutes meditation, 3 minutes of stretching for exercise, and 3 minutes for developing mentally. At least I did something that day. If you don't have 10 minutes, you're just completely lying. So, and I know I'm really harsh. Like, some people are going through like some kind of crazy situation. Then, like, look, my advice is not going to be that. Like, you're in the hospital or like what? Like, I really have empathy for those kind of situations. Cause I get a lot of comments like that. Like, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you know, I can't really. It's case by case. But yeah, to give advice about that. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Did I answer the question?
Yeah. So it's important to do all three, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, spiritually, physically, mentally.
Single out spirituality. I didn't realize.
Because it's all in tune. Like, if I always say spiritually first, because then it flows also, right? Spiritually is first because then you're going to live on purpose. You're going to live with purpose, and you're going to naturally want to take care of yourself and want to grow, because when you grow and you learn, then you can give that back to others, and it's just a flow. But if you don't take care of yourself physically, you don't have a strong, healthy body, what can you do in the world? You can't do anything. If you have no energy, what can you do? That's what I've been realizing lately. Like, I'm really trying to be aware of what I'm putting in and how I'm spending my time, whatever, trying to learn about how I can optimize my energy. Because if you have energy, then you can do, you know, whatever. So you need to take care of yourself physically. And if you're not growing, you're not learning, like, you're not going to be happy either or fulfilled. And you also, they say that's what causes dementia too, is one of the things that causes dementia, Alzheimer's, is not keeping your brain active. Like, that's one of the things that they suggest, like, learn something new every day, right? So it's very important to take care of yourself spiritually, physically, mentally. And if everybody does that, the hospitals aren't going to be packed up with almost, I don't know what percentage of things in the hospital can be prevented. People living in the hospital now that can be prevented if throughout their life they develop themselves spiritually, physically, and mentally. It changes everything.
Can you remind me, what were the three things you said? You said journaling. What were the others? Meditation,
journaling, and prayer. Okay. That's what I do.
A little bit on that?
Sure. So for my meditation, I actually do some breathing too, to get oxygen. I do. You know, you know all this stuff. You know, like Wim Hof breathing.
Yeah, I've heard
okay, I thought you were like being sarcastic.
No.
Sometimes I breathe with oxygen.
No.
I like, breathe when I need to.
There's rounds of breathing. Like, you do rounds of 30 breaths of breathing all the way in and letting go. You do 30, and then on the last one, you hold it as much as you can, and then you let it out. Anyway, so
that can be considered like that's even physically for your body too, just to like get oxygen to your blood. And
it really is. That does fall. That does fall.
It's kind of both things.
You're so right. You're so right. So getting that in, then I have my meditation practice, which I do, which is of reflecting and letting go of any blockages. So also journaling. Every single day I journal. in the evening time, reflecting on the day, what happened that day, what went right, what could I improve, and letting it all out, all those things. And then also, it was a journal given to me by meditation founder Ann Sisneem. Amazing. There's a question too, what did you do for others today? Which is an awesome question to ask yourself every night, because then during the day you're thinking about what can I do for others, And then I write down gratitude too. At least 5 things I was grateful for. And then also before going to bed, I think about what was I grateful for that day too. But the main spiritual practice might be what you're getting at. I don't know.
No,
but the main, I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, I got you. Getting at is the practice of reflecting and letting go of the blockages through the meditation that we do, that we all do.
Yeah.
We all do.
We all just fist bumped each other for anybody listening.
Yeah. Gratitude journaling is really impactful, and I'm not that consistent with it. But gratitude. And there was also an exercise we did once. I don't remember what they called it. Where it was like we wished love for like the world or something, but also like I remember putting emphasis on like think of someone you don't like and like wish them love. And I remember that being so like I felt such release when I did that.
Yo.
It felt so good to give those people I really don't want to give it to, and I gave them love, and it was just like so.
That is amazing. I love
relieving.
That. Didn't you hear? You grew up Catholic. Didn't you ever hear about love your enemies?
Yeah. So I was yes.
I mean, so that's like it's deep. That's you actually became someone who can.
Neighbor is what I was thinking of. Right? Isn't that one of them?
Love your neighbor like yourself. Yeah. Well, you actually achieved that.
Yes.
That's what love is too, right?
But yeah.
Love to me, loving them is not like, because we think about that as unattainable. We think about that as I got to be best friends and all. It doesn't mean that. It means loving your enemies. You can get to the point where you genuinely wish the best for them.
Mm. Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to get out of your mind and become the universe mind. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that exercise too.
Right.
Yeah. And it kind of comes back to like what we're talking about attachments. Like having enemies is an attachment itself too. Like
it really is.
Many times we have like animosity towards people or holding a grudge or something. It's like reality is like that's you holding on to something in your mind, and it's kind of often hurts you more than it is them.
Yeah.
So being able to get to a place where you can just like I don't have to interact with you. I don't necessarily have to be like just be around you all the time, but like I can just wish you well and
Love that.
I remember like early on, like one of my early levels, and you were guiding this class, and you're like, "Oh, how's everyone feeling?" And I was like, "I'm angry," and I was like, "And I don't want to throw away my anger because I feel like it's very justified. Like I feel like I have every right to be angry at this person." And I think you said something like, "Anger is like." Us like punishing ourselves for the actions of somebody else or something like that, because like we're the ones suffering, like they're not even they don't know that how like what you're holding on to.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, I don't know where I heard it from. I didn't come up with it. I might have changed it a little bit, but I heard somebody say, if someone comes up to you and stabs you and then runs away, then you keep that knife there for the rest of your life. And you're like, look what this person did to me. It's like, dude, your arm's like got to be killing you, no? Oh, but it's going to hurt if I take it out. Well, then if you take it out, your arm's going to heal and you'll be all right. But that's what we do. Right? Like, no, I have to keep it because I'll keep it till I die. Like that's the definition of stubbornness, right?
Yeah.
We need to be free. We need to let go of all that stuff before we die. I need to. I'm always saying we, but that's what I believe.
Yeah, I'm with you. Do you have anything else, Matthew?
No, I don't think so. I think we've kind of touched on everything, and yeah, I definitely like what you said about journaling. Because for me, like before I started meditation, like I journaled a lot. Like I think like probably 2-3 years, I must have filled up like 6 journals. Like I was just constantly writing every day. But it's like it was interesting because like I was writing just about like whatever I was going through, and then like once I started meditating, like I stopped journaling. I was like, I have nothing else to write about. And like my mind started getting better. So now like. Really the last few months we've been focusing more on gratitude journal, and that's like really helped a lot because even during the days like I'll be like, oh, like that was a good thing, or I'll find myself thinking about something positive or grateful just randomly during the day.
That's exactly what it does.
Yeah. it's really just about like the whole purpose, I think, of just meditation, journaling, spirituality is really just to keep changing your perspective, and finding the ways to do that.
That's so true. It makes it so simple, right? It's just changing your perspective.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. And that's what any philosophy or religion is talking about. And that's what we're doing here. It's changing from the human mind to the infinite universe mind. Mm-hmm. You make complicated things sound simple. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you do that.
That's it. That's a talent, man.
Sometimes,
isn't that the Einstein
I'll
quote?
be rambling for 10 minutes and didn't make any sense, and he'll summarize it in
No, you're making sense. You're making sense, but he's really good at that, actually.
Yeah, it's actually something I think I realized lately too. Is when we were having a little design meeting with Lior to go over the logo and trying to figure out what are we doing for this, and I was already working with Lior, so I kind of knew more or less what he was getting at. But he was talking to Leanne and Claire. And I was pretty much quiet the whole time, and then at some point, I pretty much listened to what they were saying. I listened to I kind of knew what Lior wanted, and I basically just said it, combined the two. And that was kind of in that moment where first time I kind of realized, and I think probably accepted a part of myself. I was it's actually a good thing to just be quiet and listen, because you can really understand things better, and just I was I kind of feel I kind of accepted part of myself, because I always felt like I had to be the person that was talking or wish I was more outgoing, but I'm I could just kind of be quiet and listen, and then
it's your superpower.
That's the best, actually. We got 2 ears, 1 mouth, right?
Yeah.
To be back to what we were talking about with people and pure intention at the meditation. That's also too to feel someone was listening to you. Mm-hmm. When you would tell the helper something, there's no one who can really listen to you, because they have so many thoughts. We have so many thoughts in our head, and it's really hard to find someone that's going to actually listen to you.
Yeah.
You felt hurt. You feel heard, and if you think back to that, that's all you want, right? Mm-hmm. It's a little tough on podcasts to be able to someone. Sometimes I feel I'm talking too much. I've been doing podcasts too long, but that's the whole point, getting it out. But no, man, that's a superpower, to listen and then put it in like that.
Yeah. And that's why I was initially, when we thought of the podcast idea, I was I don't think I want to be on as a co-host. Maybe I'll just be behind the scenes. But I don't know, as we started recording, I'm maybe this will work.
You're
that's great.
The seasoning, Yeah. It's not necessarily the main ingredient, but definitely necessary and perfect addition.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. If you're not following Blake, I don't know what else.
Everyone who's listening to this at this time might be, but just my name. As of right now, August 2nd, 2023.
Thank you.
Is that the date? Yeah. As of now, I don't know when exactly this is coming out. All my Instagram and Facebook, TikTok, I'm starting to post more on than other places, and YouTube is my name, which is Blake Guss. My last name is Guss.
Is there it's just Blake Guss? There's no
it's just my name. Luckily, it's not the common of a name.
That works. Personally, I find that your content on Instagram, mainly because that's where I'm usually at, somehow it's always something I need to hear at the exact moment. Every time you post something, I'm either it was something I was recently struggling with or thinking about, and then you just happened to post about it, or it was something that I didn't know I needed to hear, but then I heard it and I was wow, thank you. So thank you on a personal note for what you do and what you put in the world.
I really appreciate them. It really means a lot. Because that's my intention with it, is not, it's just like what we were talking about. I got helped, and I just want to help. And we're in that era now where we have the ability to record something on a phone and help on that kind of level. So if there's whatever's on my mind, then getting it off. But hearing things like that makes everything worth it. When I hear things like that, someone, actually one of the people who was in the morning session today, then they stopped meditation for a while, but they were following me, and they said they came back because of something I said or whatever. And it's not really me. It's even what we're doing here, the whole goal is, I think, as a helper, as any kind of leader, is to have, to not be about you and try to help the truth get out of you or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's when it works, and that's when somehow you can connect. Yeah, exactly. Then that's how you connect. But we can't force that or make it happen. And if I didn't have this practice, I would never be able to do any of that, right? Like I owe everything. Sisneem and Sisneem helped me do everything. Nobody's coming to me to learn anything. There's no video I can make about that. I would just have been making videos trying to show off or whatever. You know, now I'm really, and I was introverted before too. Like, I don't even know, just totally changed. And I'm happy. Thank you so much for saying that. And I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Blake.
Thank you so much. This is great. Cham Chats. I love it.
Thank you for listening to Cham Chats. If you enjoyed the episode, please be sure to leave a review and follow us on social media. All of the links are in the description. And if you're interested in trying this meditation method yourself, you can visit onlinemeditationevents.com for online classes and to be connected to a center near you. See you next time.